in the ancient halls of Rivendell, where wisdom has dwelled for countless ages, the Council of Elrond gathers, deliberating over the One Ring. As Elrond speaks with grave clarity of the ring's history, he recounts how Isildur took it from Sauron's hand, keeping it as a weregild, only to lose it in the Anduin's depths. His words carry the weight of ages as he warns of Sauron's rise and the urgency of their task. There is only one way: to find the cracks of doom in the depths of Orodrin, the Fire Mountain, and cast the ring in there, if you truly wish to destroy it. At these words, murmurs of dissent ripple through the council. Boromir of Gondor rises, his voice both proud and defiant. Why not wield it? Why not use this weapon against the enemy? He asks, his eyes gleaming with the desperate hope of a man who has fought too long against a tide of darkness. Let the ring be our salvation. Gandalf's voice breaks the tension, his words sharp and resolute. No, the ring is altogether evil. Its power corrupts all who would seek to wield it. He recounts the story of Gollum, the wretched creature twisted and consumed by the ring, and speaks of its insidious whisper that bends even the strongest will. Frodo sits quietly, his small hands clutching the ring as if to shield it from the intensity of the room. He looks at Gandalf, his trusted guide, and in a voice soft yet steady, he offers it to him. "Take it, Gandalf," Frodo says, his words laced with innocence. "You are wise and powerful. Will you not protect us?" Gandalf freezes, his face shadowed by an inner struggle. His voice had once rung with certainty. "Do not tempt me, for I do not wish to become like the Dark Lord himself. Yet the way of the ring to my heart is by pity, pity for weakness and the desire of strength to do good." These words had been his shield, but now they feel brittle under the weight of desperation. In the canon, Gandalf's refusal is resolute, his voice trembling with both fear and strength. "Do not tempt me," he warns again, turning away from the ring's allure. But in this alternate history, doubt gnaws at his resolve. Sauron's forces are amassing, and the Free Peoples are unprepared for the storm that looms. The ring, with all its dangers, offers a chance to turn the tide before it is too late. In this moment of desperate hope, Gandalf cannot see the shadow lurking behind the ring's promise. He reaches for the artifact, not out of greed, but with the solemn belief that his wisdom and will are strong enough to bear its burden. As his fingers close around the ring, a hush falls upon the council. This is the divergence, a moment where the history of Middle-earth splinters into a darker path. With the weight of Middle-earth upon his shoulders, Gandalf takes the ring, not knowing that this choice will lead to both triumph and ruin. Tolkien himself pondered this temptation, writing in letter 246, "Gandalf as Ring Lord would have been far worse than Sauron. He would have remained righteous, but self-righteous, becoming a tyrant in the name of good." Thus begins a tale of power and sacrifice, of noble intent corrupted by the insidious whisper of dominion, a story of Gandalf the Ring-bearer and the harrowing path he must tread as both savior and shadow, a journey that answers a haunting question. What if Gandalf had used the One Ring to defeat Sauron? After taking the One Ring, Gandalf wastes no time. The whispers of the artifact amplify his resolve, urging swift and decisive action. He leaves Rivendell with a clear goal: to rally the Free Peoples under his command and strike at Sauron's allies before their forces can gather strength. His first destination is Rohan, a kingdom crumbling under Saruman's treachery. The plight of Rohan is dire. Theoden, once a mighty king, has fallen under the spell of Grimer Wormtongue, a servant of Saruman. His son, Theodred, is gravely wounded in the skirmishes at the fords of Isen, leaving the kingdom leaderless and vulnerable. In the canon, Rohan would have been driven to Helm's Deep, but in this altered tale, Gandalf intervenes before such a retreat becomes necessary. Bursting into the Golden Hall, Gandalf casts off Wormtongue's lies with the force of the ring's amplified power. His words, sharp and unrelenting, cut through Theoden's malaise, restoring the king's strength and will. Unlike in the canon, where Gandalf relied on persuasion and his staff alone, here he uses the ring's subtle influence to bend Theoden's spirit back toward hope. Theoden rises, his strength returning, and declares his kingdom's readiness to fight. Yet Gandalf, for all his wisdom, begins to see this as more than hope. It is control. Rohan does not retreat to Helm's Deep. Instead, under Gandalf's command, its forces rally to defend the fords of Isen and strike back at Saruman's armies. With each victory, Gandalf's reputation as a savior grows, but so too does the quiet unease of those who follow him. His commands are absolute, his presence overwhelming, and his reliance on the ring's influence begins to show in the fear he inspires. And now Gandalf turns his gaze towards Isengard, determined to end Saruman's threat once and for all. Gandalf approaches Isengard, not as a weary pilgrim, but as a figure of immense power, flanked by Theoden's Rohirrim, the riders of Éomer, and the banners of the Elves and the Dunedain. His forces surround the ringed fortress, their resolve unshaken. For the first time in his life, Saruman finds himself besieged. The confrontation between the two wizards is inevitable. Gandalf strides into Orthanc, his bearing regal and commanding, the one ring concealed but pulsating with influence. Saruman, sensing the ring's presence, greets him with a mix of fear and desire. His voice, once smooth and persuasive, now falters as he realizes the extent of Gandalf's transformation. Yet, even in his desperation, Saruman's silver tongue does not fail him. He appeals to Gandalf's reason and ambition, speaking with the same manipulative tone he once used when seeking to join Sauron's cause. A new power is rising. Against it, the old allies and policies will not avail us at all. There is no hope left in elves or dying Numenor. This then is one choice before you, before us. We may join with that power. It would be wise, Gandalf. There is hope that way. Its victory is at hand, and there will be rich rewards for those that aided it. As the power grows, its proved friends will also grow, and the wise, such as you and I, may with patience come at last to direct its courses, to control it. Saruman's arrogance has gone too far. When he lashes out, his staff blazing with power, Gandalf's patience shatters. The ring's influence surges through him, and he strikes Saruman down, silencing his voice forever. As Gandalf emerges from Orthanc, his forces cheer, their morale soaring. But among his closest allies, Aragorn, Éomer, and even Theoden, there is a growing unease. Gandalf's demeanor, though victorious, carries an edge of finality that brooks no dissent. The shadow of his growing dominance begins to show, and his actions leave little room for mercy. Tolkien's warning resonates. Gandalf as Ring Lord would have been far worse than Sauron. He would have remained righteous, but self-righteous, becoming a tyrant in the name of good. With Saruman defeated, a path now lies open for a decisive strike against Sauron himself. Gandalf wastes no time, rallying the united forces of Middle-earth to march on Mordor. The ring's whispers grow louder, its promises of salvation mingling with the shadows of doubt in the hearts of those who follow him. As the host of Middle-earth approaches the Black Gate, the shadow of Sauron looms large. Yet it is not the only shadow that falls upon the world. Gandalf, now bearing the One Ring, marshals the united armies of the Free Peoples for the final assault. At the Black Gate, the forces of Sauron await. The sky grows heavy, the air thick with malice, and the eye burns brighter. Sensing its master's greatest threat drawing near, Gandalf steps forward, radiating a terrible light that commands the attention of friend and foe alike. With a voice imbued with the ring's power, he calls for Sauron to face him. The battle begins in chaos. Gandalf's forces clash with the armies of Mordor, but it is the confrontation between Gandalf and Sauron that consumes the battlefield. Tolkien himself described the balance in such a moment in Letter 246. One can imagine the scene in which Gandalf, say, was placed in such a position. It would be a delicate balance. On one side, the true allegiance of the ring to Sauron. On the other, Gandalf's superior strength and wisdom. The clash is one of sheer will. The ring caught between two titanic powers. Gandalf, wielding the combined might of the One Ring and his own, strikes at Sauron with a ferocity unseen in Middle-earth. For a moment, victory seems possible, the Dark Lord faltering as his essence is torn from the eye. But even in triumph, the price is clear. There is only one Lord of the Ring, and he does not share power, as Gandalf once warned in the Council. In the final blow, Sauron is cast down, his armies scattered, his dominion shattered. Gandalf, triumphant, turns to his allies, who now look upon him not as their savior, but as something far more fearsome. The words of Frodo, spoken in innocence, now echo with foreboding. "You are wise and powerful. Will you not take the ring?" Gandalf's reasoning is cold and clear. He has seen the destruction wrought by Sauron, the fractured alliances of the Free Peoples, and the weaknesses that still linger in the hearts of men. The ring, he tells himself, is a tool, one he alone can wield to protect Middle-earth from future threats. His voice, once filled with humility, now resonates with unyielding command. There can be no mercy for those who would stand in our way. Under Gandalf's rule, the 9 Nazgûl are dispersed across Middle-earth, not as agents of Sauron, but as enforcers of a new order. Strict laws and surveillance keep the peace, but it is a peace built on fear. The words of Tolkien resonate here. In the end, he would have made good detestable and seem evil. Letter 246. What began as a mission of salvation has become a tyranny. The transformation is now complete. Gandalf, once the wisest and most compassionate of the Istari, now sits as the new Dark Lord. His vision of peace and unity is enforced with an iron will, his wisdom corrupted into self-righteousness. The tragedy of his fall lies not in his failure to resist the ring, but in his belief that he could wield it without becoming what he once opposed. This alternate history asks a profound question. What if Gandalf had used the One Ring to defeat Sauron? Would Middle-earth have truly been saved, or would its light have been forever dimmed by a shadow born of noble intentions? It is a haunting reminder that power, no matter how righteous the bearer, is a dangerous master. As we leave this imagined path of Middle-earth, we invite you to ponder, was there ever truly a choice? Could Gandalf have resisted the call of the ring once it was in his grasp? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and together let us explore the what-ifs of Tolkien's timeless world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through an alternate Middle-earth. If you enjoyed this tale, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more what-if stories and explorations of Tolkien's world. Your support helps us bring these imagined paths to life, and we can't wait to share more adventures with you. Until our paths cross again, may the stars shine upon your faces.